I was a gynecological master, publishing countless papers. But after taking over my husband's female student, every time I wanted to publish a paper, I found that the female student had already started the research one step ahead of me. The female student wrote the same paper as me, pinned me on the pillar of shame for plagiarism, and also snatched my position as director of OBGYN. I repeatedly made mistakes during surgery, causing major medical accidents, being fired by the hospital, and being held accountable by the patient's family. A patient who was paralyzed for life because of my mistake crawled into my consultation room and splashed a bottle of sulfuric acid on me, leaving me with no complete corpse. But I couldn't close my eyes even when I died. I didn't understand why the female students' papers were always the same as mine. I also didn't understand why I, who was in good health, would inexplicably feel on the operating table, leading to surgical errors. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the time before the paper was published. One director, Emily Carter, are you going to publish a new paper again? Amazing. My Kaleo ancient Kirce's praise felt like a needle stabbing my heart. I am the director of OBGYN at State General Hospital, spending all my time outside of consultations in the laboratory doing research and solving complicated cases. Every time I solve a complicated case, I publish a paper for medical workers all over the world to refer to. These papers all come from my practical experience and discoveries, so people who have not participated in the tackling of difficult and complicated cases cannot know the specific details and data. Looking at the paper that had already been compiled on the computer, my heart was pounding. It was at this time in my past life that I published a paper as usual, but was judged to have plagiarized it 4 hours later. In order to prove my innocence, I decided to reproduce the treatment method and show T. He committee that only I could do this surgery, and no one else could write this paper. I found a patient with the same disease and paid for her treatment at my own expense. As a result, I, who had always been in good health, felt dizzy and frequently on the operating table, eventually making a mistake that caused the patient to be paralyzed for life. The patient and her family blocked me in the consultation room and cursed loudly. You don't know how to treat it. Why did you deliberately instigate us to have surgery? You ruined my daughter's life. Your paper is plagiarized. People like you are a disgrace to the medical profession and deserve to die. Kill her. This kind of rotten person is not qualified to be a director. The patient, paralyzed from the waist down, crawled in front of me and splashed a whole bottle of sulfuric acid on me. My flesh was burned and crackled. Recalling that soul-piercing pain, I was almost unable to sit still with fear. Trembling, I opened the paper and reconfirmed the content. There were no identical treatment plans, the details were handled in my style, and even the patient had a unique condition. There was nothing wrong with my paper. It was impossible to plagiarize. To Director Emily Carter, Ashley Smith, your husband's student, seems to have published a paper this morning too. Hearing this name, I became even more fearful and looked at Ashley Smith outside through the crack in the door. Ashley Smith is my husband David Carter's student and the only graduate student he supervises. I heard that she came from a remote mountainous area, her family is poor, and her tuition is paid by my husband. Although David Carter also specializes in OBGYN, he lacks practical experience teaching at the university and became powerless after helping Ashley Smith publish a few papers. David Carter came to me, hoping that I could be Ashley Smith's mentor. He also said that if I didn't agree, he would immediately divorce me, send my son back to the orphanage, and never let me see him again. David Carter and I were college sweethearts. After graduation, one of us entered the hospital and the other stayed at the university. We were an enviable couple. But after marriage, I was diagnosed with infertility and reluctantly accepted the reality after several years of treatment and adopted a son. David Carter has always been brooding over this matter, always feeling that his son has no blood relationship with him and is an ungrateful wretch. He has said more than once that he wants to divorce and find a young woman to have children with. I was afraid of affecting my son's mental health, so I stubbornly refused to divorce. I handed over all the money I had earned over the years, and I turned a blind eye to David Carter's revelry outside. David Carter used my son as a threat, so I had no choice but to take in Ashley Smith and teach her wholeheartedly by my side. But Ashley Smith was extremely stupid and didn't even understand the most basic medical knowledge, not at all like a medical graduate student. I originally thought that Ashley Smith would soon be fired, but I didn't expect that she would publish a paper on the day she joined the job, making a great splash. And the research subject of her paper was a patient I had just cured. The hospital thought that I was intentionally cultivating students and gave all the credit for the research to Ashley Smith. But only I know that this research was completed independently by me, and Ashley Smith did not participate at all. Thinking of this, I asked a Kaleo Ancient Kursi, "What is Ashley Smith's research topic?" The Kaleo Ancient Kursi enthusiastically handed me a copy, which was Ashley Smith's paper. I looked at it carefully and became more and more frightened. Ashley Smith's paper was the same as the paper I had just completed. I had been preparing this paper for a long time, and there was indeed a risk of it being stolen. But the last paragraph of the paper's summary was just finished by me 10 minutes ago, and the copy of Ashley Smith's paper was spread in the department this morning. In other words, anyone could think that I plagiarized Ashley Smith. But the research subject of this paper is my patient, and there is only one case in the world. Ashley Smith just came to the hospital yesterday. How could she write a paper in such a short period? And it's the same as my paper. What exactly is going on? I hurriedly deleted the paper from the computer and forced myself to calm down. In any case, I am a person who has died once, and this time I must not let the tragedy of my past life repeat itself. I am the most talented student at State Medical University in the past 30 years, and medicine is easy for me. After graduating, I became the youngest director of OB/GYN in the State General Hospital in just a few years, with my excellent clinical responsibility and medical skills. I have treated countless patients and overcome countless complicated diseases. Knowledge and experience are all in my head, and no one can steal them. Thinking of this, I cheered up again. Being robbed of a paper is nothing. I have countless topics to research, and a treatment model for a complicated disease suddenly flashed in my mind. Fearing that the paper would be stolen again, this time I dared not use the computer and wrote furiously on paper. As long as I come up with a new paper earlier than Ashley Smith, she will not be able to plagiarize it. After conceiving the specific direction of the topic, several colleagues rushed into the office excitedly. Director Emily Carter. Ashley Smith has proposed a new topic again, and the concept is very clever. She is a genius. 3. Ashley Smith doesn't even know the most basic medical knowledge. How could she propose a new topic in such a short period? I don't believe Ashley Smith can propose a new topic. She doesn't have the ability. Seeing me get angry, several young doctors looked at each other and left the office awkwardly. I heard them whispering when they closed the door. Is Director Emily Carter getting angry out of embarrassment? That's right, Ashley Smith is just a graduate student and can write such excellent papers. Who wouldn't be jealous? Look at how jealous Director Emily Carter is. Could it be that she will make things difficult for Ashley Smith's new topic? Ashley Smith is Director Emily Carter's husband's student. If the student is good, the teacher is good. Maybe Director Emily Carter's previous papers were all stolen from her husband's research results. Listening to these discussions, I took a deep breath and gradually cleared my mind. Ashley Smith came suddenly, and I haven't had a chance to get to know her well yet. And the quickest way to understand a person is to look at their social media. Opening Ashley Smith's social media, the first thing that catches my eye is a photo of her and my husband, David Carter, with their arms around each other, smiling brightly, like a couple. There are mostly praises in the comments below. Ashley Smith is the #1 talented woman at State Medical University. She has published 5 papers in 3 years. Who can compare with this achievement? As expected of Professor Wang's close disciple, the relationship is really good. I heard that Professor Wang even bought a car for his senior sister. Ashley Smith, Be careful when you go to the hospital for an internship. Professor Wang's wife is a well-known jealous old witch. You are so good, don't let her steal your experimental results. These comments contained too much information I was unaware of, making me feel dizzy. 5 papers in 3 years? This is not an achievement that a student should have. A teacher buying a car for a student? They are not in a normal teacher-student relationship. I didn't dare to look anymore and trembled as I wanted to turn off my phone. The social media feed happened to refresh automatically, and a new comment app appeared under the photo. Don't worry, Ashley, as long as I'm alive, Emily Carter's research results will be yours. If she dares to publish a paper, I will make her a complete plagiarism dog. I couldn't support myself anymore and fell to the ground. Fortunately, that paper was not published, otherwise, I would have been nailed to the pillar of shame. My husband, the person closest to me, not only had a suspected affair with a female student, but also intended to harm me. And I was busy treating patients and didn't even know when they got together. Some of my previous patients were retired police officers and private investigators. I calmed down and found a few people to help me investigate the relationship between David Carter and Ashley Smith. After doing this, the phone screen refreshed again, and Ashley Smith posted another message on social media. New topic, independent team leadership, private message if you have the ability and want to participate. Also released was a piece of scratch paper with a research direction still in its infancy scribbled on it. I turned off my phone and slowly looked at the paper that had just been placed on the table. Why is Ashley Smith's new topic so similar to what I just conceived? Could it be that she stole my topic one step ahead again this time? I didn't believe it and picked up the paper to carefully compare it word by word. It was the same. The content on Ashley Smith's paper was the same as what I wrote, even the smeared marks were no different. But how is this possible? I am the only person in the office, and I recorded it with pen and paper. Could it be that Ashley Smith is monitoring my office? So she can see everything I write? I nervously checked the office all over, but found nothing. I was so engrossed in searching that I didn't realize that David Carter and Ashley Smith had appeared in front of me at some point. Seeing their tightly pressed bodies, my anger burst out, and I stepped forward to pull them apart. But Ashley Smith dodged it lightly. Director Emily Carter, I am Professor Wang's student. Are you so angry because you think Professor Wang and I have an improper relationship? I tried hard to suppress my anger and almost couldn't help but slap Ashley Smith. David Carter saw that something was wrong with me and pulled Ashley Smith behind him vigilantly. Ashley and I have a normal teacher-student relationship. Emily Carter, I warn you, you are not allowed to go out and say anything to ruin Ashley's reputation. I sneered. Who said there was a problem with your teacher-student relationship? Ashley Smith said pretentiously. Director Emily Carter is so busy. Of course she doesn't care about the relationship between me and Professor Wang. By the way, Director Emily Carter, I heard that you are preparing to publish a paper recently. Why haven't you published it yet? She plagiarized my paper and dared to come to me to show off. I couldn't wait to smash her arrogant face. But I can't. Ashley Smith published the paper first, and even if I say she is a plagiarist, no one will believe me. I forced myself to calm down. The last topic had problems and was abolished by me. I want to calm down, so you can leave. David Carter snorted coldly at me when he saw this. Stop pretending. Who doesn't know what you are capable of? I would say that it's not that there is a problem with the topic, but that you are not capable enough. It just so happens that Ashley is preparing to do a new topic now. If you have nothing to do, come and help. David Carter closed the office door and took out Ashley Smith's new topic and placed it on the table. Ashley is kind-hearted and willing to help a useless piece of trash like you. She will put your name at the bottom of the paper, but the premise is that this paper must be completed as soon as possible. After David Carter finished speaking, Ashley Smith arrogantly talked about how the hospital valued her talent very much and gave her the greatest support, and also wanted to give her the Physician of the Year award. I didn't say a word and quietly observed them. Perhaps my silence made Ashley Smith's boasting useless. After she boasted for a while, she suddenly reached out and pulled out the paper I had pressed under the book. Oh, why is Director Emily Carter's new topic the same as mine? Could it be that you think I am too good, so you specially copied one and prepared to study it carefully yourself? The more Ashley Smith spoke, the louder her voice became. Director Emily Carter, I know that you have many years of experience and connections in medicine. If you want to steal my topic, you will be able to write a paper earlier than I, but plagiarism is not a good habit. As a director of OBGYN, you don't want to be gossiped about, do you? She deliberately said that I was plagiarizing, and then gave me a way out in a self-righteous manner. How about this? For Professor Wang's sake, I will let you be the co-creator of this topic, but you must come up with a specific research plan within a week. Otherwise everyone will know that you are secretly plagiarizing a student. Ashley Smith's words were full of ridicule and arrogance, but I heard something different. They said so much just to get me to come up with a research plan as soon as possible. If Ashley Smith could complete the research independently, they would not have come to me today. And Ashley Smith has already exposed the new topic. If I give up the research because I am afraid of hitting the topic, Ashley Smith will not be able to continue plagiarizing me. In other words, if I don't agree to the joint research, Ashley Smith will not be able to come up with a specific research plan for the new topic, and she will become a complete joke. Seeing my silence, David Carter took the initiative to slow down his tone. Emily Carter, solving the pain for patients has always been your goal, and you can't bear to see that little girl with a uterus full of malignant tumors die like this, right? The little girl David Carter was talking about is the subject of my new research topic. Her family is poor, and her parents have long abandoned her, leaving her alone in the hospital, waiting to die. I felt sorry for her and applied for major disease research for her, so although she has to bear the risk of using new therapies, the medical expenses are all waived, and there is a high probability of recovery. The opportunity is very rare. David Carter used the patient's life to morally blackmail me. I clenched my fists angrily and squeezed out a sentence from between my teeth. I need time to consider. David Carter smiled contentedly. Then do it as soon as possible. There will be no such opportunity again. Who would be so kind as to take you to do research besides Ashley? Ashley Smith also obviously breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. And David Carter's arm. Teacher is the best person. Teacher loves Ashley the most. David Carter knows, you are my most beloved student. Who else would I love if not you? Looking at their intimate behavior, I felt disconcerted. But at the same time, I was even more convinced of my idea. David Carter and Ashley Smith had been together for a long time, and it must be David Carter, the person next to my pillow, who was plagiarizing my paper. Just as I was thinking wildly, a private investigator faxed me a copy of Ashley Smith's information. The affair between Ashley Smith and David Carter may be in this information. As long as I expose all of this, Ashley Smith will be fired, and I can take the opportunity to divorce David Carter and keep custody of my son. They will never be able to continue plagiarizing my paper in the future. I took a deep breath and opened Ashley Smith's information. 5. Ashley Smith's family lives in a mountainous area. When she was 14 years old, she and her parents had a car accident while traveling. Her parents died, but she was not injured at all. From T. Hen on, relatives regarded Ashley Smith as a jinx, feeling that she would kill everyone around her, and they all alienated her. Ashley Smith's family was poor, and after her parents died, she had no source of income. But unexpectedly, Ashley Smith lived quite well on her own. In the remote and backward mountainous area, she had fruits and meat to eat every day. And the hit-and-run driver who killed Ashley Smith's parents was a poor ghost who did not pay compensation at all. Gradually, the villagers were spreading rumors that Ashley Smith, at a young age, shamelessly seduced men in exchange for food. Although Ashley Smith has never denied this, according to the information sent back by the private investigator, Ashley Smith is unexpectedly self-respecting. Not to mention having a relationship with the men in the village, she is too lazy to even pay attention to them. Even more bizarre are Ashley Smith's grades. Ashley Smith is not stupid, on the contrary, she has a bit of cunning, little cleverness, but she is not cut out for studying. Since elementary school, she has always been one of the last few students, surprisingly stupid. But during the high school entrance exam, she unexpectedly got a good score and soared after going to high school. By the time of the college entrance exam, she had reached the top of the school. Ashley Smith was admitted to the State Medical University with excellent grades. Because her hometown and David Carter were in the same town, David Carter took care of Ashley Smith in every possible way and took the initiative to fund Ashley Smith's university expenses. Later, Ashley Smith was admitted to graduate school and became David Carter's only student. Ashley Smith's experience is bizarre, but it is also within the realm of what is understandable. Having money to eat may be government funding, and having good grades in high school may be because she suddenly realized that studying is the only way out. I didn't see the content I wanted to see. Most. I called the private investigator to inquire about the relationship between Ashley Smith and David Carter. The private investigator thought carefully for a while before saying, "It's just a normal teacher-student relationship." Ashley Smith is self-respecting and has never had an excessively intimate relationship with David Carter. I sent him Ashley Smith's social media feed, which was full of jokes from classmates and evidence that David Carter bought Ashley Smith a car. The private investigator said, "I also found out that there are indeed rumors in the school, but Ashley Smith does not have an improper relationship with David Carter. They only meet a few times during class and have no communication in private at all. As for that car, David Carter took the initiative to ask to buy it for Ashley Smith, but they are not close at all and do not look like lovers at all. I got the surveillance video of them buying the car at the 4S store. Take a look for yourself." In the video, Ashley Smith and David Carter entered the door one after the other. Ashley Smith only spoke to the salesperson and completely ignored David Carter. And David Carter followed Ashley Smith's but like a docile dog and obediently went to pay the bill after Ashley Smith picked out the car. They did not communicate throughout the process and did not look like lovers at all. But David Carter and Ashley Smith behaved so intimately just now. Moreover, besides coveting Ashley Smith's young body, I can't think of a second reason that could make David Carter betray his wife and family and run to steal my paper for Ashley Smith. But if the paper wasn't stolen by David Carter, how could Ashley Smith copy such a detailed paper one-to-one? I felt more and more confused. Before getting off work, a close Kalia ancient Kursi came to me to gossip. "Do you know that the hospital attaches great importance to Ashley Smith and thinks she is the second you, the second genius? So they promised that as long as Ashley Smith publishes a second paper, she will be promoted to associate director. It's just that the time is tight. You published 2 papers in a row when you first joined the hospital, with only a week in between, so the hospital leaders also gave Ashley Smith a week to come up with a paper. If she can't come up with a paper, she can forget about getting a promotion and a raise." I suddenly realized. No wonder David Carter and Ashley Smith were so eager for me to join the research topic. It turned out that the hospital had set a time for her. Although I don't know how Ashley Smith was able to come up with the same paper as me earlier and earlier, I know that those papers came from my brain. As long as I don't participate in the topic and don't write papers, Ashley Smith won't be able to plagiarize me. I asked the leader for leave and went home, and took my son back to my parents' house in the neighboring state. In the first few days, David Carter and Ashley Smith called me countless times a day, urging me to go back and work on the topic. I knew that without my participation, David Carter would not be able to steal my paper and plan, whether it was a paper record or a computer record. Ashley Smith couldn't plagiarize and became anxious. A week later, I left my child at my parents' house and went back to work myself. As soon as I entered the door, I saw the department decorated with lanterns and a big banner read "Congratulations to Ashley Smith on becoming the associate director." Kalia ancient curses surrounded Ashley Smith in the middle, saying auspicious words and congratulations. I looked at all this in disbelief and froze in place. I hid away, fearing that there was monitoring software on my phone, so I specially changed my phone and changed my SIM card. Fearing that my home was being monitored, I especially took my parents and children out for tourism. Fearing that my family would accidentally let something slip, I never mentioned work, let alone the topic. But Ashley Smith still wrote a paper and became the associate director. Kaleo Ancient Curses saw me, but no one greeted me. Ashley Smith stood in the middle of them, with a brand new associate director badge on her chest, her eyes arrogant. Director Emily Carter, you are leisurely. You ran out to travel when the department was so busy. If you had come back a few days later, maybe the leader would have directly let me replace you as director. I, Ancient Curses, must look very embarrassed now. But no matter how embarrassed I am, I have to die knowing why. You wrote a paper? Ashley Smith didn't even need to answer, and a lackey took the opportunity to show off for her. Of course I wrote it. Director Emily Carter, don't you think that there are no geniuses besides you? Director Lou's paper has already been published in The Lancet, so be envious. How is that possible? The results of the private investigator's investigation clearly stated that Ashley Smith often skipped class in college and couldn't even say the most basic medical knowledge. How could she write a highly professional paper? I darkened my face and asked someone to get Ashley Smith's paper. Ashley Smith smiled. Director Emily Carter, don't you believe me? But open your eyes and take a look. Besides me, who else in the entire hospital can write such an excellent paper? She pretended to suddenly realize, oh right, besides me, there is also Director Emily Carter. But Director Emily Carter, you have been traveling outside for a whole week, and I can't contact you at all. You can't say that I plagiarized you, can you? I tried my best to suppress my anger and took the paper from the colleague's hand to examine it carefully. As soon as I saw it, my whole heart was in my throat. Although the wording and sentence structure were different, the entire paper was almost the same as what I had expected. Although I was afraid of being plagiarized again and dared not write with a pen or wrecker on the computer, I was not idle this week. My brain had been running all the time, thinking about the topic. The little girl with a uterus full of malignant tumors was in great pain, and I wanted to save her. The entire paper had already been completely written in my brain, unless Ashley Smith could steal things from my brain. Such an absurd ancient curse made my body tremble uncontrollably. When writing the paper, I had a little habit that even David Carter didn't know about, which was that I liked to use awkward English, and some rare words were not even in the dictionary, and only native speakers of English-speaking countries knew them. Such English also appeared in Ashley Smith's paper. And in the private investigator's investigation, Ashley Smith's English was very poor, and she could even misspell happy. The truth is very clear. Ashley Smith can steal the paper directly from my brain. That's why she can come up with the paper faster than I every time. Director Emily Carter, your face looks so ugly. Could it be that you don't like me being the associate director, so you show this look like your parents have died as soon as you see me? Ashley Smith pulled me back from my trance. I looked at her coldly and suddenly smiled. I don't like you, but I am upright. Do you dare to make a bet with me? Come up with a second paper within 7 days, and let everyone in the department and the leaders comment on it. Whoever is better will be the director. When Ashley Smith heard this, she almost burst out laughing, and the look in her eyes was full of pity, as if she was mocking my overestimation of my abilities. She agreed without hesitation. Okay, I also think it's a waste of talent to be the associate director, so let's do as you said, and whoever loses can't go back on their word. 7 This week, when I was at work, I thought about what the meaning of work was, and when I was off work, I thought about what to eat and drink. I didn't think about the paper all. Time passed day by day, and David Carter couldn't help but me to write a paper quickly. You have the old and the young to take care of. If you lose your position as director, who will support your family? I won't spend a penny on that little who has no blood relationship with me. I looked at him with a sneer. Who are you going to spend money on? Ashley Smith? Are you planning to have Ashley Smith give you a child? Unexpectedly, David Carter retorted righteously, I am not worthy of a beautiful genius like Ashley Smith. I will not have such dirty thoughts. I felt extremely surprised. David Carter came from the countryside and was with a very strong sense of self-esteem. It was hard to imagine that these self-deprecating words would come out of his mouth. I said that I would write a paper, but in reality, I didn't even think about the word paper in my mind. Another day passed, and Ashley Smith couldn't sit still either. She blocked me in the office and I heard from the teacher that Director Emily Carter hasn't written a word these days. My paper is about to be finished, Director Emily Carter. You are also a great genius who appears once every 30 years at the State Medical University. Are you willing to lose to a yellow-haired girl like me? I smiled and replied to her, I am willing. Ashley Smith's face was ugly, and her tone was also fast and urgent. If you lose your position as director, the teacher will divorce you. At that time, he will send back the child you adopted from the orphanage. Are you willing to let your son suffer? I still smiled, I am willing. Ashley Smith couldn't do anything to me and left in a rage. By the 7th day, Ashley Smith was visibly haggard. She came to my office one last time, demanding that I concede. I know you haven't written a thing. You're afraid of me, Director Carter. You're afraid of losing too badly. Ashley Smith's face was wild. Here's the deal, you voluntarily concede, drop out of the competition, and we'll settle this peacefully. You stay as director, and I'll remain associate director. Is that okay? I couldn't help but laugh. Why should I concede? Why don't you? Ashley Smith suddenly flared up. Don't push your luck. I'm discussing this with you because I respect you, Emily Carter. Don't forget that patient of yours with the uterine tumor is now under my care. If you want her to live, then honestly concede. Ashley Smith was using someone's life to force me to concede. I clenched my fists, anger boiling like magma. But there was no way I would give in. I could only compromise. Conceding isn't my style. I'll go back and write the paper right now, but the time is too short. I definitely won't be able to write something great, and I'll lose to you in the end. Just don't touch that patient. When Ashley Smith heard that I would write the paper, she immediately smiled with satisfaction. Good, you know what's good for you. I rushed to write the paper overnight. The next day, everyone in the department and the hospital leaders came. Ashley Smith and I submitted our papers in front of everyone. You're doomed. Ashley Smith whispered to me triumphantly, your director position, all your achievements, as long as you're still doing research, all your glory will belong to me. Ashley Smith probably thought she was ancient cursorianted to win, so she shamelessly flaunted her victory. Blame yourself for being too smart, too enviable. Once I have everything you have, I won't be foolish enough to continue doing research. I'm going to a private hospital. Wouldn't it be nice to casually earn millions of dollars a year? I smiled and nodded. Then congratulations in advance. At this moment, the hospital leaders and experts finished reading Ashley Smith's and my papers, exchanging glances with troubled expressions. Seeing this, Ashley Smith glared at me triumphantly and took the initiative to ask, leaders, is something wrong? Did someone plagiarize? Ashley Smith said gleefully to everyone, the thing we researchers hate the most is plagiarism. If I plagiarized Director Carter, or Director Carter plagiarized me, please don't spare us any face. Just point it out directly. She was full of confidence, sure that I was the one who had plagiarized. Seeing that the leaders didn't respond, Ashley Smith became even more energetic. Don't be shy, leaders. I admit that Director Carter is very capable in research. She has always been the pillar of the obstetrics and gynecology, OBGYN, department, but new talents emerge one after another. You can't protect her from making mistakes just because she is meritorious, right? Ashley Smith laughed unscrupulously, and David Carter also joined in the heckling from the crowd. Although Emily Carter is my wife, I am ashamed to have such a wife. I hope the hospital leaders will not consider my feelings. Say whatever you need to say, and punish whatever mistakes need to be punished. She deserves it. Seeing this, My colleague Ancient Curses also started talking. What does this mean? Did Director Carter plagiarize? Speaking of which, Ashley Smith seems to have taken the lead in Director Carter's last 2 projects. Emily Carter isn't saying anything. Don't you understand? It must be plagiarism. I thought she was talented, but it turns out she copied everything. Ashley Smith smiled even more happily. Director Carter, do you want me to beg for mercy for you? I smiled and nodded. Then thank you in advance. Ashley Smith didn't expect that I could still smile and stared at me suspiciously. But soon, her expression relaxed, and she went to plead for me. Leaders, Director Carter is old after all. It's normal to make mistakes. Let her go home and retire. Don't worry, the hospital has me. I will handle everything and definitely won't embarrass the hospital. After she finished speaking, the leader behind the table suddenly slammed the tea. Abel. Plagiarism is a serious mistake. The hospital does not tolerate such a disgrace to the medical profession. That's natural. Ashley Smith was full of schadenfreude. So just fire her. The leader stared at her angrily. Then you're fired. Ashley Smith, you're fired. Ashley Smith was stunned. Leaders, you must have said it wrong? Emily Carter is the one who plagiarized. Why are you firing me? Unexpectedly, the leader became even angrier, slamming the 2 papers on the table. Emily Carter plagiarized you? I've never seen anyone plagiarize so poorly. The garbage you wrote is not even a fraction as good as Emily Carter's. How is that possible? I copied it exactly. Realizing that she had misspoken, Ashley Smith quickly shut her mouth and picked up the 2 papers to compare them carefully. Even if she didn't understand medical knowledge, she could see that my paper had several more pages than hers. These were 2 roughly similar but completely different papers. Kalia Ancient Curses came forward to watch, and after circulating it, they all praised it. Director Carter's paper is excellent. Looking at Ashley Smith's, although there are no obvious mistakes, it's confusing and messy, like an old woman gossiping, with not a single useful sentence. So, Ashley Smith was the one who plagiarized. How could a recent graduate student publish such a professional paper? So the previous papers were also Ashley Smith plagiarizing Emily Carter? Did David Carter steal Emily Carter's paper and give it to Ashley Smith? Are Ashley Smith and David Carter having an affair? How does Ancient Curses sting? Ashley Smith's eyes turned red from her Kaleo Ancient Curses ancient curse words, and she suddenly tore both papers apart, grabbed my shoulders, and shouted, "What the hell is going on? Last night, what was on your mind was my paper, so why is your paper more detailed and better than mine? Did you hire someone to write it for you?" Ashley Smith was desperately trying to accuse me of hiring a ghostwriter as if grasping at a straw. But everyone present looked at her as if she were an idiot. The reason I am called a genius is that I am the undisputed leader in this field. Besides me, no one can write such a paper. Who could I hire to write it for me? Who has the level to help me write it? I told Ashley Smith with a sneer, knowledge and experience are all in my brain. I don't need to think, I can just write. What I wrote last night was indeed Ashley Smith's paper, but I forced myself to stay up all night, and when my brain was most sleepy at 4 in the morning, I perfected the paper with muscle memory. No need to think, no need to use my brain, so naturally, Ashley Smith couldn't steal it from my brain. Although I don't know what evil trick she used, a genius is a genius, and the gap between me and her cannot be filled, even with evil tricks. No one believed Ashley Smith and looked at her coldly. Ashley Smith couldn't stand this blow, and her eyes were particularly fierce when she looked at me. I became vigilant, ancient cursing against her sudden attack. But unexpectedly, Ashley Smith ordered David Carter to attack me. David Carter, hurry up and teach your wife a lesson. Even more bizarre, David Carter rushed towards me like an obedient dog with a dull look in his eyes. Fortunately, there were colleagues around who stopped him. But the next second, David Carter's eyes suddenly went straight, and he fell straight to the ground. David Carter was sent to the emergency room for rescue, and the on-duty doctor speculated that he had fainted due to a sudden cerebral hemorrhage. He was sent for a CT scan, and the results came out quickly. Looking at the empty head on the CT scan, all the doctors present fell silent. What's going on? Why is David Carter's brain empty? The leader asked in horror. In the CT scan, only the skeleton of David Carter's brain remained. The cerebrum, cerebellum, and even cerebrospinal fluid had all disappeared. At this moment, the nurse in the emergency room suddenly screamed, "Worms! There are worms!" A soft, black worm crawled out of David Carter's ear, looking like a fat snake. Everyone watched this scene in horror. Still, the security agent cursor at the door was brave enough to cover the worm on the ground with a petri dish. The nurse screamed again, "The patient is dead." The monitoring machine made a piercing noise, and David Carter's heartbeat stopped. David Carter died just like that. In the silence, a private investigator called me. I put it on speakerphone. Miss Carter, Ashley Smith's old neighbor, received the money and finally told the truth. According to him, Ashley Smith's grandmother was bought from the South and knew how to use ancient curse, a skill passed down to daughters but not to sons. After the grandmother died, the ancient curse worms were inherited by Ashley Smith. It is said that these ancient curse worms will enter a person's brain when they are young and resonate with the mother worm in Ashley Smith's brain, thus forming brain interoperability. However, these ancient curse worms have a large appetite. After eating a person's brain, they need to immediately change a host. Otherwise, if the larvae are hungry, the mother worm in Ashley Smith's brain will also become violent and devour its host. The old neighbor said that after Ashley Smith's parents died, many people in the surrounding families died one after another, but Ashley Smith, an orphan, was not only unharmed but also became more and more prosperous. They cursed that Ashley Smith used ancient curse worms, so they were so repulsed by her. After listening to the private investigator's words, I understood everything. Ashley Smith's money and Ashley Smith's suddenly improved grades. David Carter took the initiative to pay the tuition fees, and David Carter was obedient to Ashley Smith. All of this was because Ashley Smith used ancient curse worms. What about me? Ashley Smith has stolen ideas from my brain more than once, so there should also be ancient curse worms in my brain. Thinking of this, I immediately had my whole body carefully x-rayed. Fortunately, the worm had not completely entered my brain but was just shrinking in my ear canal. After removing the ancient curse worm, the hospital reported Ashley Smith to the police. But Ashley Smith didn't know what method she used, and she disappeared without a trace. Just when I thought she would get away with it, 3 months later, the news suddenly reported that a teenage cancer patient committed assault in the street, pouring a bottle of sulfuric acid on an innocent passerby. I took a closer look and found that the teenage cancer patient was my patient, the one with the uterus full of tumors. The girl cried in the interview, "I could have lived." It's all Ashley Smith's fault for plagiarizing Director Carter's paper, which led to me being assigned to Ashley Smith's treatment group, but she doesn't know anything. Ashley Smith not only delayed my condition but also gave me the wrong medicine, causing me to suffer endless pain every day. I hate her. And the woman lying on the roadside, disfiancient cursed, was Ashley Smith. Later, I went to see Ashley Smith. Ashley Smith's entire face was splashed with sulfuric acid, especially her mouth, which was corroded, leaving only a shallow pit. In other words, Ashley Smith could no longer make a sound. And her ancient curse worms needed spells to control them. Soon, the larva that crawled out of David Carter's brain starved to death. It only eats fresh human brains, and no one can afford to raise it. Without this larva, Ashley Smith could have manipulated another larva to drill into someone else's brain to feed the mother worm. But her mouth was rotten, and she couldn't chant spells, so she could only watch all the larvae starve to death, and the mother worm went crazy. Our worm wouldn't eat her brain completely, but it would make her hurt. A lot. More painful than being corroded by sulfuric acid. I heard that Ashley Smith was in so much pain that she tried to commit suicide every day in the nursing home, but her mother's will to survive was stronger than hers, and it repeatedly manipulated her brain to prevent her from committing suicide. Ashley Smith would spend the next few decades in pain every day. But this had nothing to do with me. I was still the genius director of obstetrics and gynecology, OBGYN. The only difference was that without my stupid husband, my life with my son was happier. It was also later that I learned that the reason why David Carter was targeted by Ashley Smith was that he hooked up with female students every year when new students enrolled and succeeded several times. The girls were afraid and did not dare to call the police, and one of them jumped off the building because of this. In the end, hooking up with Ashley Smith was also David Carter's blessing.